Hello everybody, welcome to your second sample question on the procedures surrounding express entry. So in this picture you can see four people. We're going to talk about four people in this question. And of course this question is going to force you to take a step back when you're looking at a lot of little details in a scenario in order to, again, use your knowledge of express entry procedures to answer the question correctly and quickly. All right, so here is your question, and as always, I'm going to give you 2 minutes for this. All right, so your time is now complete. And as always, I'll read this to you just in case you are listening to this while maybe driving to work or something like that. And if you're listening to this while driving to work, well, good for you, because you are certainly taking advantage of every minute you have in order to get some studying in. All right, so we have Anirudh, Bhavya, Charvi, and David are classmates from the University of India, and last week they all graduated with bachelor's degrees in engineering. The group is interested in immigrating to Canada because 3 months ago the Canadian Embassy held a seminar at their university to discuss express entry and the opportunities that await young graduates in Canada. The four friends booked an initial consultation with Kiara, an RCIC based out of Delhi, to discuss this plan. Kiara notes that Anirudh and Bhavya are 25 years old, and Charvi and David are 27 years old. All four have already taken their IELTS exam, and Bhavya and Charvi received an overall score of CLB 8, while Anirudh and David received a score of CLB 10. What is Kiara likely to advise the group regarding immigrating to Canada through express entry? Okay, then we have our four options. So we have A, they should retain Kiara's services to make an express entry profile for them. We have B, if they can obtain a provincial nomination, they will likely receive an invitation to apply. We have C, Anirudh and David have a better chance of being selected for an invitation to apply than Bhavya and Charvi. And we have D, they should not retain Kiara's services to make an express entry profile for them. All right, so we're going to work through each answer. Now, I hope you already obtained the correct answer. And if you didn't, well, hey, that's exactly what you are working towards in going through these videos. Okay, so the first one we'll take a look at is C. We have Anirudh and David have a better chance of being selected for an invitation to apply than Bhavya and Charvi. So let's take a look at the four friends here. And we know that they all have a bachelor's degree in engineering. In terms of their age, they're just about the same as well. There was a little difference in their language score. So we have a CLB 8 for Anirudh and Bhavya, and a CLB 10 for Charvi and David. Well, when we take a step back and we take a look at express entry and the express entry procedures, well, remember you have that profile there. So the person would make a profile, and then of course if they meet those minimum requirements of either the Federal Skilled Worker Program, Federal Skilled Trades, or Canadian Experience class, well then they can move into that pool of candidates. Well, the question is, of course, whether or not they meet those minimum requirements to even move into that pool. So we could see that they have a bachelor's degree in engineering, CLB 8, CLB 10, and they're 25 to 27 years old. There's no mention of work experience. So when we take a look at the Federal Skilled Trades program, well, we can see that it's very clear that they don't meet those requirements. They're obviously not in skilled trades for their jobs. And in terms of the work experience, they obviously don't meet the work experience. There's no mention of them working in Canada ever, and there's no mention of them even working ever. So obviously that one is not going to work either. Now we have the Federal Skilled Worker Program, and again, work experience is the key to answering this question. Well, work experience and of course understanding the procedures in express entry. So we know that they would not qualify for the Federal Skilled Worker Program either, simply because they do not have that work experience. All right, so let's take a look at another option here. So we got rid of C already. Now we're left with A, B, and D. Okay, so B is going to test your knowledge of express entry procedures with regard to PNPs. So B says if they can obtain a provincial nomination, they will likely receive an invitation to apply. Now, remember the provincial nominations give 600 CRS points. So if a person is in the pool of candidates and receives a provincial nomination, and of course wants to live in that province, well, that is what we call a home run, because that person would far exceed the CRS cutoff score and would take those next steps, of course, towards immigrating to Canada. Well, with the group over here, with those four friends, when we take a look at those procedures, again, of express entry, as it relates to provincial nominee programs, well, there's a couple of different ways to do it, right? So one would be if they applied directly to a PNP through their express entry system. Now, the other way is, of course, starting by meeting the Federal Skilled Worker, Federal Skilled Trades, or Canadian Experience class requirements and making that profile. Then, when the person has that profile made, they might receive a provincial nomination. All right, so they can either, of course, have that nomination already when they make the application, or they can, of course, make the profile, or they can, of course, make the profile and then receive the provincial nomination while their profile is in that pool of candidates. But just like we saw before, this group does not meet those minimum requirements. They would not be able to move into the pool regardless of if they receive a provincial nomination through express entry, and they wouldn't anyways, because of course they wouldn't be in the pool of candidates. All right, so now we are left with A and D, and essentially those options are the opposite of each other, really. So for A, we have they should retain Kiara's services to make an express entry profile for them, and D says the exact opposite. They should not retain her services to make that express entry profile. All right, so we're looking at A and D here. Now, if we take a look at the group again, well, we know that they have that Bachelor's of Engineering, they're 25 to 27 years old, CLB 8 and CLB 10, and in Express Entry, they would be pretty amazing candidates if they had work experience. Now, they don't have work experience. There's no work experience mentioned in the scenario. So, of course, as we saw with the previous analysis of the answers, it's just pretty impossible for them to work on obtaining permanent residency through Express Entry. They don't have those work experience requirements. So because of this, of course, what the RCIC would do is advise them that they don't qualify for even to make an Express Entry profile. They don't meet the minimum requirements to move into the pool. So the RCIC would obviously tell them, listen, I wish I could help you, but in this specific instance, in terms of immigrating through Express Entry, well, it's just not possible. So obviously the RCIC, because the RCIC is ethical and honest, she is going to say, I can't help you. I don't want to waste your time. I don't want to waste your money. So you should not retain my services to make that Express Entry profile. Now, in real life, of course, she would try to find other options for them as well. And that's the job, really. In real life, just to give you a little bit of insight, with a group like this, what you would probably advise anyways would be to see if they're willing to go study in Canada, to go study for a 2-year master's degree or something like that, because most people, you'll find once you finish your ICCRC Full Skills Exam, once you become an RCIC, you'll see that a lot of your clients, or a lot of people who come visit you, they want to go to Canada quickly, they want to work, and of course they want to bring their families there. Well, a group like this, it's a little bit difficult to tell them that they don't have work experience, so they'll have to maybe explore options in a couple of years once they have that work experience, assuming of course that they get the work experience during that time. And the other option, of course, one of the other options that you present to them is to let them know that if they want to come to Canada to study for, usually we recommend a 2-year program, well, they can work right away. Really, as soon as they start school, they can get that 20 hours during school and 40 hours when the school holidays are on. So usually people are pretty intrigued with that, and especially when you tell them about the short wait time for a study permit. So it's a pretty good little option. And of course, that's just to give you a little bit of insight into your life as an RCIC after the full skills exam, after you pass the full skills exam, because you get scenarios like this quite a bit in real life, as well as, of course, on the exam. All right, after all of that, we have D as the perfect answer to this question. Now, with this question, like I said, there's a lot of little details in here. Now, a lot of people would get stuck in those little details, but remember, it's important to take a step back, look at Express Entry procedures as a whole, and that would lead you towards answering D quickly. All right, well, a very big thank you for tuning in and for your great work in becoming an RCIC. It's been a pleasure to bring you this question. And of course, I look forward to seeing you in the seminar if you're joining us, or if maybe you're already an RCIC and you're going to join us for our CPD courses. Well, that is just fantastic. For all of you studying for your full skills exam, keep up the great work. You're going to really love your life as an RCIC because, well, as we saw a little bit of in this question, you get to help people find immigration solutions. All right, so have a fantastic day. Thanks for tuning in, and see you in the next lesson.